Right, hello again. Right, I just thought I'd do an update on the Nikon ZF, um, and I've acquired a lens, and I just thought I'd have a chat and respond to some of the comments. By the way, thank you for all those that have liked my videos and have put a comment in the videos. It's really appreciated. It Thank you very much for all of you that have done that. That's really much appreciated. So I thought I'd respond to some of those in a video, because I've had other comments, not necessarily on YouTube, but outside as well, about who this camera is for. As you can see, I've got a hot shoe here, a red one, which matches found that on Amazon. So that I think looks quite cool. And what I'm going to do, actually, I've bought some like leathery self-adhesive in a red colour. So I'm either going to do that or I'm going to paint this, because I do feel, if I've got one criticism, is Nikon could have made more of this, whatever colour you may have, whether it's a red, orange, blue, green, whatever, they could have put more to it on this, I feel, than they have. But that's a minor criticism. So, I'm going to be doing a bit of DIY on that myself. And when I've finished, I'll show you what it looks like. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people have been complaining and saying, "Oh, it's this should have all gone in a Z6 III." Well, it probably will do. The Z6 III might be an even better camera than this. And others have said it's not really much of it's like the Z6 II. Well, yeah, I mean, it is by and large the same sensor, but it's got the newer processor in it, which has really upped the autofocus and a few other things. So it's quite a big improvement. So you will get that in the next version, and I suspect it will be the same in the Z6 III, because they're not going to make it. This isn't as good still as the Z8 or Z9. So they're not going to make it better than those top-end cameras. At some point, you may well get what's in those cameras when they've made the Z9 Mark II, which will again be an improvement, I suspect. Although sometimes they're just incremental improvements. So unfortunately, if you're waiting for the Z6 III or the Z7 III, you're going to have to wait a little while, because they're not going to bring that out when they've only just brought this out. So I suspect at least 6 months, and then you might start hearing rumours of the Z6 III. Maybe sooner, who knows? I've got no inside information at Nikon. But you're going to have to wait. And, at the end of the day, this is a retro style camera, which people have been crying out for in full frame. And that's why Nikon have produced this. Because Fuji have had retro style cameras for forever. But they are only APS-C. And Fuji have never done full frame. They do medium format. They've gone one better. They've gone straight to medium format, but they kind of skipped full frame altogether. Maybe that's because they want to keep their lenses smaller. They've got a big fan base, and they are very nice cameras, and they've got a great selection of lenses. So maybe they feel they don't really want to compete with Nikon and Canon and Sony. So you're just going to have to wait. Who's this camera for? Well, anybody that wants it, really. Anybody that likes it. It's not what you'd be your first pick for wildlife. I mean, I still use my Sony A7 IV for wildlife, with the Sony 100 to 400. That's my main wildlife setup, although I do still use the Z50 with these lovely, the 300 PF. I just love that lens. I may part with it one day, I don't know, but I just love that lens. That's the only reason I actually went into Nikon. So there you go. But this, well, it's different, isn't it? It's got a retro, and what they've done, they've added some colour versions to it. By the way, somebody asked me yesterday, they're thinking about getting one later on in the year. If you want one of these in the colour variations, I would get in quick. Don't leave it, because I think before long you'll find these are all sold out. And you will only get the black versions. There'll be plenty of black versions, the normal. But if you want one of the coloured versions, the blue, the green, the orange or whatever, I would get in quick. I wouldn't hang around. So who's this for? Well, I think it's for anybody that just wants something different. And I think that's something, Nikon have done. But, most cameras are these plain, plain boxing looking things like this. And Canons are the most boring to look at, I think. Canon really are, boring cameras. I never liked Sony either. The A7 IV this is my first ever Sony camera. I never liked Sony, but they did make this with a better grip compared to their others, and they actually finally implemented a touchscreen, which they hadn't done. They were the last to do it. But even then, I put this skin on it, not because for protection. I mean, it does do that, obviously, but it's just to make it look a bit nicer, from that plain black, boring look. And of course Nikon have gone one step further. I mean, Fuji have been doing that for a long time, but Nikon have taken it a step further. They put it and they've added these colours to it, so kudos to them. So who's it for? What would you use it for? Well, it's a good walk around camera, holiday camera. You can use it for everything. I mean, obviously, it's because of the better focusing. You can use it as a wildlife camera. It probably wouldn't be your first pick. I mean, I would still prefer to use this over this, because you've got the joystick and you've got the custom modes. You've got 3 custom modes. This hasn't got any of those things, so it's not really ideal. But you can still do it. I mean, there is no camera that's, you can't use this camera for that. You can use just about any camera for any purpose. It's up to you. They're all designed differently, and so that is, they're designed, aimed at a specific kind of photography more than other cameras, But it's also very good for manual focusing. It's got this manual focusing system in it that's really good by all accounts, and I haven't tried it, but it's something I wanted to get into, which is why I purchased a manual focus lens. Now this is the 50mm f2 APO Lanthar Voigtlander lens. Now, by all accounts, this is one of the best, sharpest 50mm ever, if not the sharpest ever. It's I've read a lot of reviews on it, and I highly recommend. I go to 2 people for my lens reviews, and if they say it's good, then you can guarantee it is. And that's Christopher Frost and Dustin Abbott. And I'm going to leave in the description Christopher Frost's review of this lens. And I haven't tried it yet, but I know it's going to be good. And it's a manual focus, so I want to try my hand at that as well. yeah. And I did buy the 28mm Sigma 1.4, but I've actually sent it back. Um, it was just a bit big and heavy, and this is quite a big camera. I mean, if you compare it even to my Sony, it's quite a bit bigger. It's don't know if you can really see that, but maybe if I put them side by side like that, you can see the difference. You know, it's quite a big camera, so I don't really want big chunky lenses on it. I want to keep the lens small. Now, I know they have these, and I did buy this one, the 28. I'm not overstruck on it. I mean, I guess this is alright for snapshots, but if you're going to spend £2,000 on a camera body, then buy a decent lens to go on it. You know, buy the best you can afford. Don't skimp out on some cheap plasticky lens that really, in the long term, is not going to get you those great images that this camera is going to be capable of with the right lens. So don't skimp out on lenses. Look for something decent to put on it. You know, I mean, this may be the one and only lens I ever need on this camera. We will see, but you know, don't skimp out. Buy something decent. You know, there's no point spending £2,000 on a camera body and then buying some cheap lens. You know, they're there to encourage you to buy a lens to go with it, but you know, they're not the best. So you know, don't skimp. Buy yourself a decent lens. Whether I probably will get an autofocus, but I don't know what. As I say, it's quite a big camera, so I don't really want a great big bulky lens on top of it. But we'll see. I did actually. I recently bought a macro lens, the 105, the old D version of the lens, for 101 in mint condition for £150 on eBay. Now it's coming from Japan, so but at that price, I mean, you can't go wrong, and it's in mint condition. I don't know why it's so cheap, but you know, Japanese sellers are very good, and they're very genuine, so you can guarantee that. So that was a bargain. So I'll show you that lens when it comes. So there you go. Just sort of give you a little bit of an update. As I say, what you want lens-wise, I appreciated all the comments and the suggestions, by the way. Thank you all for that. I did look at those comments. As I don't think any of you actually recommended this lens, but you know, they were all under strong consideration, and I still may well get I don't know, something like the 24-200, something like that, something that's just a walk around lens at a later date. But I just thought I'd try my hand at this one for now. But I did appreciate all the comments and suggestions. I did read them all. I do try to read all my comments and respond. So I thank you all for that. Anyway, I just thought I'd give you a quick update. I am going to, I shall show you when I've done the DIY with the, at least I'm going to do the handle, make that a different colour so it blends in a bit more. I might even make it orange, I don't know yet, but I'm going to do something with it. So, you know, until the next one.